People always told me affairs start with a look or a drink too many. They never told me they could start with a toolbox. That line opens the video. Close-up of Laura's hands, a worn wooden toolbox, a powered drill catching the light. Cut to her face. If you want to know how I fell apart, watch me pick up the first screw. Fade in. Soft piano underscoring. Voiceover. My name is Laura. I've been married to David for 9 years. We have a good life, a small house, busy careers, the kind of comfortable silence that feels safe, until it doesn't. B-roll of family photos, then a slow zoom on a picture of Laura and David laughing at a backyard barbecue. Scene, exterior, Saturday morning. Laura narrates as she walks into the driveway carrying coffee. Enter Evan, the new handyman neighbor from down the block, in his 30s, easy smile, carrying a large, unfamiliar power tool. Hey Laura. Sorry to bother you, my new drill is stuck. Could you help me move a shelf? He carries the case like it's something he's a little proud of. The camera lingers on the case. The hook returns. A broken drill. A broken heart. I didn't see the connection then. Laura is polite, helpful. She offers coffee. They talk. Harmless chat about the neighborhood, the weather, the kids who play across the street. Laura describes Evan as charming in the unthreatening way of someone who listens. He jokes and she laughs. The sound is warm, the kind of laugh she hasn't given in months. Insert close-ups, smiles, hands reaching to open the toolbox, the small, accidental touch as he hands her a screw. The music swells slightly. Voiceover. It wasn't fireworks. It was slow. The danger of falling is not always a leap. Sometimes it's a step. Scenes alternate between them working on the shelf inside Evan's apartment and Laura returning home later than planned. David notices, briefly asks, "Everything okay?" Laura says yes. The answer is true, the shelf was fixed. But the emotional undercurrent is shifting. Over the next few weeks, Laura and Evan cross paths more. He helps with a leaky cabinet. She brings him cookies. Their conversations lengthen. They exchange texts that start as logistics and evolve into confessions. Favorite songs, offhand regrets, the little humiliations that make strangers feel like friends. In voiceover, Laura admits, "I began to tell him things I had never said to David. I don't think I meant to be deceitful. I think I meant to be known." The camera shows montage edits, late-night text bubbles, a coffee shop where they linger, a lingering shot of Laura staring at her phone, smiling and then frowning. The tension is palpable, but not explicit. We see emotional closeness build through eyes, gestures, and pauses. Insert a moment where Evan tells Laura about a recent divorce he helped his sister through. Laura responds with a vulnerability about feeling invisible in her marriage. The music is intimate, piano and low strings. One evening, after a long day, Evan knocks on Laura's door. He needs help with a heavy cabinet. Nothing sexual, just practical. David is working late. Laura hesitates, then she says yes. The two of them wrestle with the cabinet in the dim living room. There's close proximity, a stray laugh, a hand at the small of a back to steady someone. The shot holds on their faces for a beat too long. Voiceover. I remember thinking, this is ridiculous, and then I remember what it felt like to not be ridiculous for a minute. They share a quiet, impulsive kiss. The script makes clear the line crossed is their choice as adults. The scene cuts away quickly. No explicit action, only the aftermath. Cups of cold coffee, a hand over a face, the sound of a siren far off. Next morning, Laura wakes with guilt. The lighting is pale. She calls in sick to work, stares at the ceiling, and watches plates in the sink that David rinsed the night before. The voiceover is blunt. It happened. We both knew it shouldn't. We both did it anyway. What follows is not erotic description but fallout. Laura confronts herself in a mirror. She remembers the small kindnesses David offered over the years. The late-night takeout, the way he learned the names of her co-workers. There's no cartoon villain. The narrative frames both David and Evan as full people. David is steady, somewhat absent lately because of a promotion that consumes his time. Evan more available, more exciting because he's new to Laura's life. The camera cuts to David in his office, alone, scrolling through emails, tired lines by his eyes. Laura tries to hide it. She lies by omission. Texts deleted, explanations given, half-truths told. The script stresses the human cost. The weight of secrets, the split attention, how intimacy with one person erodes trust with another. Eventually the truth comes out in a small, ordinary way. A receipt, a voicemail, a photograph on a phone screen. David asks a simple question. Is there someone else? The silence that follows is louder than any confession. Laura struggles, then tells him. The scene is raw but not sensationalized. She admits everything. The first toolbox, the small kindnesses, the kiss. David's reaction is realistic. Heartbreak, anger, disbelief, then a quiet that suggests he is processing. He does not become a caricature. He asks questions, and the couple sits across from each other at the kitchen table, late into the night. They argue and then collapse into exhausted honesty. The script gives space to both points of view. Laura's loneliness and curiosity, David's sense of betrayal and loss of the life he thought steady. We move into the aftermath: separation, counseling, hard conversations with friends, and small attempts at repair. The video doesn't promise redemption or punishment. Instead, it examines consequences. Laura reaches out to Evan to close that chapter. He is sorrowful and apologetic. He tells her he thought he could be the answer to something she needed, but he respects her choice. "I wanted to be the easy part of your life," he says. Laura recognizes the cruelty in that wish. The scene is quiet, mature, and reflective. By the end, Laura sits with the camera again, older in ways that don't show on her face. "I don't have a perfect moral for you," she says. "I only have the truth that I lived through. People make terrible choices, and sometimes they survive them. Sometimes they don't. But you learn what you're made of when the scaffolding falls." The final shots. Laura and David in couples therapy, raw conversation. Laura alone on a porch, learning to be still. The toolbox closed on a shelf, gathering dust. The video closes with a short, compassionate address to the viewer. If you're watching because something similar is happening to you, you're not alone. Get help. Talk to someone. Don't try to hold everything in your head. End with resources slide suggestions, counseling hotlines, relationship resources, and an invitation to comment respectfully and share stories in the community guidelines. End card. This is my story, messy, real, and imperfect. If you want more honest, non-judgmental stories, subscribe. Fade out. This keeps romantic tension and an emotional affair narrative, avoids incest or minors, and omits explicit sexual content while remaining compelling and YouTube-friendly. If you want, I can tailor the script to a specific narrator tone, confessional vlog, cinematic reenactment, or documentary interview, expand scene directions, or format it into timestamps and shot lists for a long-form video. Which style would you like next?